And we are quite glad actually to work together to support Estonian companies actually export to many different countries, and notably France, which is actually a key market. And we already actually work with a handful of suppliers from Estonia, and it's working pretty well. So thank you again. Today, I'm just going to tell briefly what we do, so you have a good understanding of why we have a very good overview of the different retailers that are actually interesting for your export business. And then I'm going to go more in the French consumer habits with the top products or the organic market. And then we'll go after into a deep dive of the French retail market and have an overview of all the main retailers, first conventional, and then the more specialist organic stores. And actually, it's very different actually from the UK market in terms of numbers and in terms of the retailers and basically how they are actually building their assortments for organic market at least. So actually what we do to make it easy, as we connect basically Aure, as an example, with all actually matching suppliers that are actually matching his requirements. So we do that on a global level, and we work with about 500 purchasing groups, and we grab their requirements on a daily basis with 18 category managers, and we match their requirements with your offer. So on our platform, you are invited actually to join on wabel.com, put your company profile, and then you can start contacting purchasing groups that are matching your strategy and basically the countries you want to export to. So it's a first step, and you can have actually a talk with our category manager to give you support, advice on the different markets. So to make it easy, actually, we have the needs actually of the buyers that I'm going to convey to you today. And that's how we actually have a good grasp on the market. And thanks to the requirements of the purchasing groups, we match it with your company profiles. So your certifications, your size of the business, and different actually attributes that are very specific to your companies. And thanks to that, actually, we propose your profile to the purchasing groups that have a scoring system who actually want to meet you actually physically, and we actually also organize those meetings face to face. So this is to give you actually why we have actually a good understanding of the overall market, and also on the French market because we are based in Paris, so we meet all the French retailers on a daily basis. Okay, so the French consumer habits. So actually, when they are actually shopping today, we see that health is number one. And when they are shopping for healthy food, actually organic products is kind of the easiest items actually to shop. So basically, when they are thinking healthy products, which is actually the main driver from consumer today, is more and more actually in their intent to purchase products, then they are going to lean towards organics. And that's why we see the growth of organic products is very much actually, we can see exponential because it came from a very, very low base. And for the last 10 years, the increase is very much higher and higher. And that's why a lot of the big retailers invest in actually physical space and stores. And we're going to see which retailer invest in also dedicated organic stores on the French market. Environment actually is also a driver as number two, and taste and quality. It's very important actually to have repeat sales, obviously, but it's the driver number three. So actually, I had a quick look on Wikipedia as well on the population. So we are actually 67 million actually in 2017. So I think it makes it like slightly 2 million more people than in the UK. but actually, this is the market. The income per household actually is like slightly. Around like 46,000 euros. And in terms of organic products, I think it's like 89%, so almost 9 people out of 10 actually that actually purchase organic product in 2016. So if we break that down, we can see that 70% of the French shopper actually brought organic product at least once a month. So I believe that those people, they are going to the main massive retailer that you know, Carrefour, Auchan, Casino, that where we'll actually diving a bit later in the presentation. And then the 15% that buy products daily, we assume, talking with the buyer, is also the people who go to the very specialist organic store, which actually drive a lot of the business for organics products today in the country. Actually, I just wanted to include that size just to have a very factual figures. At Google Trends, actually, the people on the last, actually, 5 years, when they are typing organic store just in Google, the amount of search actually is increased by 7 times over the last 5 years. So actually on Google, people like type 7 times more organic store. So they are really keen actually to basically discover and make actually new experience. What's in the news actually? I wanted to see like on the last like 3 to 4 months what's really like the trends in France. So basically we have a lot of articles about organic product for school. So basically I think people are concerned about what do we serve actually in the canteen, either for companies or actually for the school, hospitals. The organic market is also increasing by 500 million euro in the first semester of 2017 alone. So it's a rapid growth. So I think the bigger the market, the more it grows even. So basically it's an interesting figures. And also organic farming is exploding. I think every day about 20 farmers convert their lands to organic farming. So it's quite significant, but not enough because the market is growing actually more rapidly in France. So we are going to look category by category. Where are the biggest import actually of products, which is actually needed for the retailers that are buying more and more organic products. So this is the market, as I explained. So basically, it grows fairly nicely, actually. So it's in 2016, so last year on a fully reported year, we have over like 7 billion euro, which we will see actually. A lot of it is done also by fruits and vegetables in bulk. And we'll see actually the breakdown with packaged food that is given by Euromonitor in last May. But if we look at just a quick figure, so we'll share the presentation actually with Christina, and it will give it to you. We'll have like, this is in blue actually, so it's 3 billion euro in like regular, like conventional retailer, so such as Carrefour, Auchan, Casino, and all of the main one in France. The green one, it's actually the specialist organic store, which actually started in the 70s, where basically they actually have a very actually big share of the organic markets, which is like 3 billion euro for the massive retailers, and actually 2.5 billion euro for the specialist organic stores. And we'll see in the specialist organic store, we have like 3 leaders, and after it's very fragmented. So basically it's concentrated between like 3 main players. If we look at like food service, what we call food service, which is like restaurants, or which like even in the airport restaurant chain and so on, or actually collective, which is like canteen, hospital, schooling. It's still for organic, a very small market. It tends to grow, as I was saying. Actually, it's the same trend in France, but it's rather limited today because on the overall market, if we just make a very brief calculus, so it's like 5% of the market with 400 million. But the operator that we work with, such as Transgourmet, Elior, all the main food service companies, are starting to get more and more interested in bringing more organic products for their clients. So actually, how is it break down the market for the different product categories? So it's not a surprise that ambient dry goods, whether it's savory grocery product or sweet grocery products, like confectionery, snacks, and so on, is the bulk of the main actually product categories for organic. So it's the fourth. So it's 23% of this organic market. So 6.7 billion, if we remove like the food service part, is actually driven by ambient goods. And we are also like all the drinks, which is actually growing a lot, whether it's like juices, soft drinks, and also alcoholic beverage as well, which is, to be fairly straightforward, is mostly domestic wines, so domestic organic French wines. But in terms of juices, we'll see that it's a lot of imported goods. And in actually the fruits and vegetables, it's big, and also the seafood in dark blue. And we see that seafood actually, the most of the market is imported products actually. So actually the domestic produce like organic seafood and smoked fish are actually, so only 40% are domestic, so the rest is actually imported, and of course all the import is mainly driven by European Union products. So this is what I was just talking about. So in green is it's the domestic production, so basically organic products manufactured in France, but in blue it's actually imported European products. And actually it's fairly split between different countries. And we see like actually that for, this is not the biggest category, but as I was saying, like smoked fish and fish products, there is a lot of import for actually ambient grocery products. So the snacking bars, which is actually getting popular with the huge popularity of convenience store in France. And actually, they are closing down hypermarkets to basically open up a lot of convenience stores and proximity stores. And also, we have something that I should underline is the popularity of our click and collect model in French, which is you order online and we pick it up in just a kind of a warehouse where you actually bring, you go with your car and somebody put that in your trunk, and this represents today 5% of the overall grocery market. So actually shoppers see actually the products online and they can filter by organic products and have easy access also to this offer through the click and collect model. So it's important to have like high definition pictures and share the right information when you actually make deals with those retailers to have like a good online presence, which is still big if we intake this click and collect, because delivery is very, very tiny market. So basically, this is something that you can look after. It's the same category at the bottom, and basically it's a breakdown per product category, and actually if it's sold more in like specialist organic stores or like the big mass retailers, as we talked about. So we see, for example, like in savory grocery, it's a 50% in terms of the overall organic volume that is actually sold. It's a bit slightly higher in sweet confectionery products. So basically, the organic stores sell a bit more sweet grocery product overall than the conventional retailers so far, because they have been only working on that really for the last 5 years, when specialist organic stores have been developing and growing for the last 40 years, because they started in the 70s. So they started much before, actually. We see actually that the drinks in conventional retail, large retail groups are actually a majority. So this is interesting according to your product category, your specificity, where are actually the players that you should target first. After it depends if your objective is more like about getting volumes. So maybe you want to target a shop with the largest number of stores, so the big retailer, or if you already have 100% organic range and you want to tap into the specialist organic store, you have a medium production, and this could be very interesting to tap, for example, the specialist organic store, for example. So this is the top organic products that are sold. So basically it's by value. So how much did they sold? Actually, I removed kind of, or I didn't focus really on domestic products. So I really focused into directly the number 4 and try for the grocery products to get a few examples of what is actually driving the bulk of the business. So it's oil, which actually account for 14% growth actually in the last 12 months again. Breakfast cereals, so basically it's something that is popular across Europe actually if we look at all the markets for organic products. Organic pasta, actually starches is actually have over 10% growth as well. Baby products, confectionery and sauces, dressing, condiments. We have actually Scandinavian products with sauces, even like different kind of sauces and spices. And actually it works well. And snacks with like the bars for snacking convenience that are actually working well, and the spreads. Also, as I know, and I have looked at some of your company profile, actually, so we looked at your product portfolio, actually, with my team of category manager, and some of your, actually, products have, like, cosmetics, so a few companies are doing cosmetics, and we get also more and more requests for these product categories that are today not very, the retailers don't have a lot of them yet, so they are still looking to have, like, alternative and new, actually, products in also like what we call beauty and personal care products. The marketing actually investments required to actually push your brands and basically help the sales and to build that with the retailer. Otherwise, in private label for you guys, it may be a good option because it's like a fast growth. All the retailers in France, they are looking to basically build up massively their range of private label organic products. You have to know your cost very well in private label, and this is really important because the retailer wants to know the breakdown of every single product very carefully. So it's a competitive market. So it's really important if you decide to basically start with private label first and maybe do your brand after. Really know your cost to the last penny, and that's what's going to be required. I just wanted to just, I did some research, so basically this comes from Euromonitor like 3 months ago, to give you the main organic brands. So on the right-hand side is the organic brands, the main organic brands of the mass retailers and the specialist retailers, and on the left is the main organic brands by multinationals. So it's a bit tricky, but what I could see is, of course, if you look at the total brands value, it's and the rest actually is we call artisanal product. That's why there is a 15% more for artisanal products. But 60% of the value of the organic market is done by big brands, but mostly is done by dairy products. So if we look at dry goods, actually private label actually is dominant if you sum up everything. So that's why it's interesting, like to really look carefully according to your category where actually it's a big market. Because if you look at the brand, Lactel is Lactalis, the #1 dairy company in Europe. Then after we go to Bjork. So Bjork is a dry good business. So they have like 3.6% of the total organics market. But after we go again in dairy, this is meat, and this is dairy. So we have only like 2 brands we're doing like grocery products. Where are all the retailers' brands? They cover a wide range of actually products, and they are actually gaining also market shares because they have more variety of product in their assortments. So the total value so far, according to Euromonitor, I thought it was more, is still in private label. It's about a quarter of this total market. And just what we believe, I say, why is the private label going to grow? Because that's the kind of the feeling we have from the different category manager, but they want to differentiate themselves. They know like organic is 1/3 of the growth of the total actually grocery retail market is done by organic products. And actually it only represents 3% of the total market, right? So a third of the growth is done by products that today represent only 3% of the total markets. So they are really investing a lot of time and effort into building the most coherent assortment of organic products. It's been already 3 years that every year they want more and more of these products. So at least they are dedicating times and they are actually listing products. Fidelization, of course, they want to open new organic store. We'll see which retailer do that. And it's really a matter of like, how do I make myself different from the store that is like 1 minute away. So for example, in my area, I just moved in actually, and I think I have like 6 stores, like 2 minutes walk, and 6 stores, half of them is specialist organic, half of them is like traditional retailers. So I think building an assortment for the new convenience stores in dense urban area is key. And as they grow their private label, so their own brands, they need to have like good products, to be different, of course, and to basically have repeat customers. So it's their core focus. And high margin as well, because organic as an index overall is 30% more expensive than conventional products, even when we look at private label. And yeah, it's higher margin for the retailers. And of course, that's why you have to know your cost very well, so you also have a very nice margin as well. So you start working with a French key retailer. First, I'm going to basically give you the organization or their structure who is buying organic products. So at the beginning, it can be a bit rough, but actually we are here to help as well. So you can basically get interest directly from the buyer. First, you have to meet their requirements to have also a very meet kind of the trends that they are looking at today. So for example, clean products means a very short list of ingredients that are highly recognized is a must. So basically there is no barrier. So basically when they look at your ingredient list, they are very comfortable. And as I was saying, it's like a key decision maker today to basically follow that trend where they are targeting millennials that are very attentive to that clean supreme trends, which is like the least amount of ingredients, or at least like to have like recognizable names. And also, logistics, of course, is key, and you can see the logistics requirements of the different French retailer on our platform, for example, and the ingredients that are not welcome in their stores. It's homogeneous list of those ingredients like palm oil, so it's pretty classic. For the certification, I'm just going to go very briefly on. I know Benoit, which is our partner actually for the French market. We'll basically give a few words on that because they have a very clear experience with some suppliers actually we selected and they distribute. There is the IFS, which I think it's a must for everybody, as you already know. So basically everybody is like, it's almost a given, so just make sure you got it before. There is this European organic label. So today, it's a must, and actually, I was looking at it, and it's actually a main driver of purchase more than the brand itself. So as we saw, like even the big brands, they have a very tiny part of the market. So basically, actually, one of the French consumer, when you look at this, this organic label, it's a very good driver of purchase. And eventually, in the second time, and it's not mandatory, this AB. AB is the sole property of the Minister of Agriculture of France, so it's kind of a public label. But you have to have like a organism to certify your company and your products. It can be interesting to push up the sales. So it's not required at the beginning, but 98% of the shopper know what it is, and it actually can be a driver to boost up your sales in the short, medium term. And for the non-food products, you have Cosmo Bio, and basically today it's composed of about 400 members, so it's still relatively small, but it's mandatory now since this year, and you can have actually this certification delivered by the guys that you know, like Bureau Veritas or EcoCert. Actually, you have those two companies who can actually get you this certification. So who are the key distributors, and what are the key figures? So just before I go again, so retail, as we saw, it's 45% market share for the organic products, so mass retailers, and they are expected to have, for packaged food, 4% annual growth. Because if we look at the last year, the overall organic market grew like 20%, which is huge. And I think even it's accelerating again in 2017. As I said, it's like over $500 million growth. So just in February alone, it's also another push of 30% growth. So it's quite significant in the end of the day. And the specialist organic stores, we see about the same growth. They're opening many stores, and we'll see how many. And they have still a solid 37%. So they are not losing market share because they actually opening a lot of new stores. Each of the three main players that actually get the majority of the business. Compounded annual growth rate. Sorry, it's my financial background. So just this is the number for actually 1 week ago. So I just updated those numbers. So the number one is Leclerc. So they have a low price core strategy, and for many years they spend a lot in advertising to make sure that every consumer in France knows they are the cheapest when you go to their store. So they're actually the number one in the market. Second, in terms of market share, is Carrefour. Then we'll have the middle player, Intermarché. So they are battling between like volumes and basically assortments, and they are actually having a nice growth. And then we have like after Casino, Auchan, and Système U, which have about like 10% each of market share. And then we have Lidl, that actually is not a discounter anymore, as you may know, because when we meet them, they want to have like more quality products, I would say, and they actually now 5.3%, so they grew from like 3 to 5%, and everybody know them because they have been spending billions over the last years in advertising and TVCs about their products, so private label products, and they launched actually 40 products organic. So with a new brand called Cibion, so organic products, and they actually advertise those products on TV as well. So they are getting nice traction. I'll come back to those guys. Just for you to understand the French market or how it's kind of divided, we have like a franchise model with cooperative model. So they operate in a very different way. So when you meet them face to face, it's good to know how the decision making is done. And actually, it's different if you are a franchise model cooperative, because each franchisee, they decide what the assortment they want to put in the store, right? So it's basically the number of stores is going to be different if you make a contract with a franchise model, even if they have the same number of stores as the other chain who have only one store. So Scama, Intermarché, and Système U actually have, it's a cooperative. So you have like members, and the largest members sometimes are actually in the purchasing department and have actually their say in which product they should actually get or not. And you have the only one store, so actually it's stock listed, so it's public. You have all their figures on their annual reports. Carrefour, Casino, and Auchan is privately owned, still by the family today. So you have an idea about who actually have a more central decision making alone, and also who they also have a unified purchasing groups, of course, most of them based in Paris, except Auchan, which is in Lille, but they still have to propose the assortment to the rest of their stores. What I can say also is like those players, Casino and Carrefour, they are really going hard on convenience stores. So they are really opening proximity stores, where Scamarc and Intermarché, they are very spread around the country with like normally no stores more than 15 kilometers to any household. So they are really more spread out with like large super to hypermarkets. And even though like Carrefour have about 50% of their total revenue in hypermarkets, it's decreasing compared to the convenience stores because they're opening so many new formats. And Système U actually have been big on click and collect. So they are very interesting. On Auchan, they operate more hypermarkets formats in shopping centers, where their member of their family have different stores actually, and different like Decathlon, like the sports store, so it's the same family. So they kind of operate in groups in like massive shopping center, despite now they're opening very tiny convenience store in Paris everywhere as well, an organic store soon. So this is, so I just do it by like number one, number two in terms of like the stores to give you a brief overview. So this is like Leclerc. So I call it Scamarc, but Scamarc actually is the name of the private label departments. So it's quite specific. So if you talk to private label department, we name it actually Scamarc, and they have a whole team actually who is in charge actually of private label and B brands. So if you are an A brand, you talk to their brand team. If you are a B brand, so basically not Unilever or Procter & Gamble, you talk to actually the same team at Scamarc, and they are able to basically reference your brand as well. So it's actually an agreement we had a year ago, where they mentioned to us that the same team who is going to orchestrate actually the development of the brands. So there are actually like requirements which are fairly standard. They are looking at the total business that they generate actually with your company. So let's say you sign a contract with Leclerc, and you do like I don't know, like a couple of million euro per year. They don't want that it represents more than 20% of your total revenue. And they are checking also on the financial, on the products, and the key requirements that you can see here. There is also like some key requirements that I included in the presentation that you can look after. So we can pass that. Just to give you an overall idea about what's in the store, what kind of products actually do they sell. They are called their private label brand is called Marque Repère, which is actually known by very well known actually in France, because it's very good quality products at a very affordable price, and it's composed of 1,600 SKUs to give you an idea. And today, I didn't put too much detail in their discount brands, because the trend for discount product in France is decreasing sharply, and basically it's replaced by organic products and premium products. So, and the decrease of discount products is accelerating, as like our partner IRI say. And also overall, so it's a figure. They develop on average about 10 to 20% of their overall range of new products every year. Otherwise, the traffic in the section decreases. So it's important for all the retailers indeed to basically replace a part of their assortments to basically drive the traffic in their section. This is the different brands that they carry. So I mentioned the discount one, the core one. They have a premium one, which is more like locally produced. So it's more like for this label for domestic suppliers. So it's not what we're looking after today. You have an organic brand, and also this is their, as we focus on organic today, organic brand. They have about over 300 SKUs, so they are a bit slower than other retailers. They have started later to build up their assortments. But as all the retailers in France, the conventional retailer, they are building a section within their supermarkets of only organic products. So you have like one section, two section, three, and sometimes it's almost kind of a store in the store, and I'll show you some pictures. So this is just what it looked like actually in the Leclerc store, and actually they also take the trend of having like bulk items, like what you can find in the organic supermarket. So in the French shopper mind, when they see the bulk product is associated with the organic stores, and they have been playing as well around that to drive more traffic and shopper to that area. So now we're going to go pretty fast, sorry about that, but in another retailer. So Carrefour is a multi-format group. So it's a global retailer. If you look at France, they have in the Paris area a buying group for all actually they are purchasing called the G4, and they actually buy for 4 countries. So when you talk to Carrefour in France, then it's like you have like a possibility to work with your category manager or buyer with the 4 different countries. So it's a question that you can ask whether you're actually targeting solely 1 country or if you have the possibility to target the 4 countries. The requirements is across retailers similar. It's of course IFS, and for Carrefour is enough in terms of the basic requirement on top of course of the organic label. This is a hypermarket, some stores. This is the ingredients list that actually they look at. So if some ingredients are actually not allowed in the products. And this is how they are structured. So basically they are operating with a different category manager who actually come from like the beverage unit, the ambient unit, the frozen units, and they have responsibility over the entire product development, from sourcing, meeting you, developing the products, financials, and basically they do all the kind of steps until the product launch on the shelf. So you have the category director, and then how it's split up in Carrefour. So it gives you a more about the idea about how is it structured at that inside. And so this is the product manager. So it's the person actually you are going to interact with. So when you start meeting them, they're going to know if you have a product that can fit in their assortment, and then they go all those different business units internally for you to make it happen. And this is their process actually at the time where they are looking for the new products. And actually we have timelines. So this is also interesting where they go in the media actually to look at what's their strategy, what do they have in store, where the market is growing, where the trend is going, and where they can have more. And then towards the end of the year, they get also the proposition, as we said, to the other countries, if they want actually to tap in and get on board with the products that they develop, and then they can do innovation rollout. So they do sometimes on a limited number of stores, or sometimes they go more large and try in the different stores. This is for actually their brand of organic called Carrefour Bio. So Carrefour Organic, they position it high up, so very premium quality products. So with the price that goes with it still. And they are actually the number 1 actually for organic products, because they have a very large range, and they have been started actually many years ago. And just for Carrefour Organic brand, they have 800 SKUs. Total in store, actually, I think it's about 6,000 organic SKUs. And the section in Carrefour is huge. And actually, out of those, you have, I think, 1,800 food products, and a big part, a big chunk is done by this brand. So this is what it looks like in a traditional supermarket. Sometimes it's like you don't see, but it can be like 4 or 5 times that within their hypermarket. So it's significant. And as the director actually of purchase of Carrefour said to me a few months ago, they want more, and even if they dedicated 100% of that, of their time to organic sourcing, it's not even enough. So they are still very much in need to develop their organic range. They developed 10 stores so far, 14 are normally planned to open. So they will have, a total of 14 stores by the end of the year of only Carrefour organic stores. So they're also not only investing their time and developing SKUs for their organic section in their stores, but also they are opening organic stores. Mainly, I think all of them are in Paris today.
So they will sell brands and private label there?
Yeah, absolutely, but only organic. They're also very convinced because they acquired also an online player called Greenwiz. They have 30,000 SKUs and 900 brands. So they did this acquisition about a year ago. And as I mentioned, yeah, they're opening specific organic stores. And yeah, I already said the head of private label of Carrefour, but she also overview all the assortments. Looking to buy as much organic product as I can find. So this is their commitments. So we saw now Leclerc, which is the number one, Carrefour, which we see like is much more involved into the organics. And if I remember correctly at Carrefour, I think that their total of organic sale is over 5%. So it's more actually than the overall average because they have a very large assortment, dedication, and it's splitted half and half between their private label and brands. So basically private label at Carrefour in terms of value shares is as much as the brand generate, which is pretty significant knowing that the brands are mostly doing dairy products. So they are doing a very great job. Intermarché. So basically the third largest retailer in France. So keep that in mind when you're going to basically think about if it's a good potential client for your business. So they are like, as I said, the middle players. They are driven as well by their members who are very actually committed to give ideas to the central purchasing unit around Paris. They are also committed to develop a lot as well, the organic brands across all product categories. This is how it works. So roughly like in the mass retailer, they all almost like kind of work in the same way. You have a category manager and then buyers who have the responsibility for sourcing, meeting you, trying the products, and basically coordinating internally to develop the product. For private label, right? For brands, it's the brand team. This is like some information that you can find about Intermarché requirements and what they look at, and this is their brands. So their brands is actually focused on you have like one. This is all their brand actually, private label brands, and what they did instead of creating an organic brand, which is an umbrella for all their organic, they have an organic brand for each of their brands. So basically, it's like you have Odyssey organic, Santelo organic. So basically, it's one private label for one product category. So that's the way they're working. So let's say, for example, you have a typical Estonian products that you think like might work. You would like to put it in the Deleuze brand in organic, maybe as it's kind of the when shoppers buy this brand, they know they want to discover a flavor of a particular country, whether it's Greece, whether it's everywhere. On the French shopper, actually, I didn't mention that, but they are huge fans of actually discovering different tastes of different parts of the world. So this is an idea about their assortments, and you can see like this is called the organic, and then there you have the brands that is similar to the one of their traditional assortment. This is also in the store. They have specific section. In all of the mass retailer, of course, they have different organic product within the conventional ones. So it's spread out in the stores, but not all of them. They have an organic kind of store, which is kind of big in all of them. So Casino, they operate very differently actually from all of the other ones. They are very different organization, different kind of teams, And their strategy is they are building up through acquisition, and they have different buying team for the different supermarket they have. So basically you have Casino, the core supermarkets. They are very big in small convenience store in every village in France. So they have 6,000 small stores in France, where basically you can find one in like tiny villages. So they are very well mapped. And then you have Franprix, which is more the urban area. And they have also, each one of those banners, they have their own buying teams. So if you're looking to basically go at Franprix, then you talk to the purchasing team at Franprix. So it's not Casino is like buying for all of their stores, no. Casino for their own store, Casino banner, they have a team. For Franprix, they have another team. And for Monoprix, they have a specific team as well. And Monoprix is more the convenience premium stores, and they have also carry a large range of organic products. Casino right now is big on innovation, so they like to try new concept, put it in 100 stores, and then deploy it more on all of their other stores. So they have an innovation team, which is different from the other organization, where they like to meet you actually, and it's the people who come to us actually mostly, and they try to see if it sticks. In 100 stores, they look at the numbers and then they deploy it. So they have a new organization to actually promote more innovative product, and normally they start with your brands. If it works, they expand your brand, or they switch it to the private label according to your relationships and what your strategy is. Casino itself, this is the organic brand. I think it's well underdeveloped compared to the other retailers. So I think they have been a bit like kind of much further down, and I think they started too late. And even for us, we see less demand from them than other retailers, to be fairly honest. Having said that, they have still a large section in stores. So Naturalia, we'll see it after in the specialist organic stores. Oh yeah, voila. I think I'm running late. Okay.
More time because you started later.
Okay, I'm going to go fast, sorry.
But I guess it's good to have the overview of the specific stores.
So I'm going to go fast on to finish with the main retailers, and then we'll show in the specialist organic stores. So, Auchan. So this is the main product category. They have organic. Brand as the other one, and you can see they have a pretty large assortment. They are building it. I think they are now going into restructuration because they launched an international sourcing office called Auchan Retail International, which is a team for importing goods. So right now they are figuring out their strategy, and I think they're going to be in the end of the year or next year starting to build up again their range of products, including organic. They have the plan. They open 2 organic stores called Cœur de Nature. It's normally going to be replaced by Auchan organic stores, and they have a plan to open actually a store to be announced toward the end of the year. So it's not official yet, but Auchan as well normally is going to develop actually specific organic stores. And the last one before going to organic stores, specialists, it's System U, which is mostly big as well in click and collect, as we saw, and the same. They have like a good balance. I think like on the figure I read, all of these conventional stores, how big or small they are, it's like the private label is half of the business, and the brand is also kind of half if we look at packaged good, excluding fruits and vegetables, of course, which take the big chunk, and dairy product, which is mostly national. So if I want to have time to speak about the specialists, we have 3 big players, and then it's fragmented. So you have like Biocop, which actually started in the 70s. And Biocop actually today, they doubled the number of stores in the last actually 14 years. They have now about 431 stores. They open, I think, this is like they open about 30 stores every year. And now they are very consistent, and their plan is to get to 500 stores in the next year if they can. And they're actually reaching $1 billion turnover, which is actually the main bulk of the business for the specialist organic players. On average, they do 300 square meter. I think this is very typical for actually an organic stores, whether it's Biocop or the next two one we're going to see after, to have this kind of format. And they carry about 7,000 SKUs. So what's interesting is total business for specialist organic store is 2 billion euro, and they almost do 1 billion, so they get 50% market share, so Biocop. The bad news is Biocop, as they started very early, it's a cooperative model. So every store owner do kind of what they want in their assortment, and they have this mentality of organic store is for very hardcore organic shoppers. So they look at domestic suppliers most of the time. So for us, we know that when we contact them, because we are mostly like international sourcing, they fairly interested in some grocery product, of course, coming from European zone, but it's still limited. So it doesn't mean it's impossible, but if you have the right product to the right shoppers, it's possible to sell to Biocop, but let's say it's not the people who are really open to international sourcing, because of this mentality where they come from, and most of their shoppers are shoppers of organic food that consume organic products every day. This is what it looks like. A big part of their business is fruits and vegetables and bulk products. And the number two, La Vie Claire. So this is the latest store actually that they opened in Paris. It's year on year, it grew 27%. So their growth actually, as I said, the market is growing and the growth is accelerating. So they are capturing a lot of business. They have 40 new stores planned for the year, so which is going to total up to 300 stores. Same size as the Biocop one. And in terms of the range of private label, it's the largest because they have over 1,800 SKUs and they add 100 new ones every year. And they want to actually accelerate that. So this independent actually retailer of organic specialty store has a lot of potential. They also started actually in the 70s, so they still also like Biocop have more this mindset of their shoppers are buying organic food or eat organic food every day. So they are a bit more also picky on the products that they import as well for you to know. But they are now expanding and actually doing more and more import because they are growing their range significantly. And one of the feedback we have from our members, so all the suppliers, it's difficult also to have the right raw materials. So you have an opportunity, if you have access to the raw material for organic products, to actually put your products in the range that they actually bring up. This is an example of their stores. And the third big player, which is like basically if we look at those three players, it's 1.5 billion out of the 2 billion, and the rest is very fragmented stores. It's Naturalia, which is owned for the last 10 years by Monoprix, so a Casino group. And those ones are more open to imported goods. So for example, for a grocery, the grocery director is called Fabien Ayust, and the guy, when we talk to him, is always like interested to see what's out there, what the product he can do. So either if you have already a product that is similar to what they do, but if you can have like some unique selling proposition, so you always need to underline your USP compared to what they have today, or if you have new products that basically they can try and they are actually more open and they have like a distribution immediately of 158 stores, so it's half of the doors, but they are already like doing 200 million turnover, and they grow approximately at the same rate because they open the same number of stores, all of them, so they grow 20 to 30% growth every year for the last year, and now it's even accelerating. So interesting figure actually to look at. And this is some of their products that you can find, of course, on their website. So you can basically dig and see according to what we said today in terms of the size, the requirements, the type of stores and the products, where is the best fit and where your product can really fit in their assortment. And actually, it's one of the other partners that is a bit smaller called Natureo, but they are actually calling us a lot to source because they want to actually, they're opening quite a lot of stores. And despite they are a bit smaller, they're already achieving like almost 100 million turnover. They have 39 stores and they are planning to open a bunch. And on the last year, they grew 42%. So normally, if its trends continue, they're going to be a decent potential client for your companies. And they're outside of town. They are bigger formats. They're close to almost sometimes 700 square meters. So they are double the size of the normal organic player like Biocoop, Naturalia, and that's what they do. And after, we have still very interesting players, which is basically doing the rest of the business, which is more like this one, urban area, Bio C'est Bon. They have also opened a few stores in Italy as well, so they go international, Bio C'est Bon. And Bio C'est Bon now is more like a healthy food business, so not only organic, but they do like healthy food assortments, and they have 10,000 SKU total. I think they have about 1,000 private label. They also want to increase that, and they have over 100 stores, so it's growing as well. And same for Les Comptoirs de la Bio. So this is not really in Paris, but more like spread out around the country. Actually, if you see the mapping of their store, it's really well spread out. And they do 35 million euro with the same kind of range of assortments. So, but all of the players, as I said, they have a very interesting growth rate. And I'm already 15 minutes late, but so the organic packaged food, to give you an idea, is 2 billion in only packaged. So if we remove like all the fruits and vegetables, and it's supposed to grow to 2.6 billion euro in the next 5 years for packaged food again. French consumers are seeking more and more healthy products on a general level, and healthy means mostly organic because it's an easy choice. So now, yeah, it's your basically, and we can discuss that during our meetings this afternoon, or if you have any question. Which are the right product for the right retailers? If you want to do private label or your brand, and do you want to offer the same brand to specialist retailers, to mass retailer? Probably not, because some specialist retailer, they want specific brands that are not sold in the mass retailer. Something that you have to keep in the mind. So maybe if your strategy is like, okay, we focus on organic stores and we have only one brand, you're almost going to sell this brand to all organic store only. Maybe you have to create another brand to go to the conventional store. So this is something that we can also discuss together. All right, thank you very much.